Hey, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to talk about a little problem I have with my projects. I usually have too many of them and not enough money to go around, so I need to save up little bits of money here and there to be able to make progress, mostly on my 1965 Mustang. I've put crossmember in and we got some suspension mounts in and stuff, but I have the engine for it over here. The problem is I don't really know if everything's going to clear. I don't want to cut the transmission tunnel, but I can't afford the $3,000 transmission to bolt on the back of the engine to lift it in and put it in and just see if it fits, or if we have a lot more work to do. So today, maybe you saw it over on the workbench here, we have something to help out. This is a set of laser cut plates that we're going to put together in just a few minutes, and it's going to be the shape of a Tremec TKX. And then I have the bell housing and I have the engine, and I hope that means we can bolt all this together semi-permanently, not really, loosely I guess, and we will see if this transmission will clear the transmission tunnel. I think the bell housing is probably going to be the bell housing is going to be the biggest problem, but I just want to know. I don't want to cut this if I don't have to. I know I got a lot of holes to fill, and maybe it's worth just cutting this all out and putting a flat, or mostly flat, firewall in. But I don't want to do that. The part of the draw of this project for me is leaving as much factory sheet metal in place as I can, because it helps retain the soul of the car. By the time you put something on a tube frame chassis, all custom, full roll cage, you know, high dollar struts, big fancy axle in the back, fabricated axle if you will, it gets out of hand, and pretty soon all you have left is the general shape of the car, and it kind of looks like the car you started with, but it's not really the car you started with. So that's the goal. So let's check this out. This is a Tremec TKX, or as close as I could get. The 3D scanned files were provided by an anonymous person from the internet, which I am very grateful that he was willing to share his scan. And the rest of the work was me putting it in SolidWorks and basically making all these pieces based on the shape of the 3D scan, as close as I could get. Is this gonna be perfect? No. Is it gonna be close enough to tell us where our transmission mount is gonna end up? Yes. Will I make a transmission mount in the car based on where this mount pad sits? Probably not. But if I want, I could plate the frame rails in that region, so when it's time to bolt up a transmission crossmember, that work's already done. So that sounds like a great deal to me. The other thing we get is the back end of the transmission. We can kind of see, we can get a guess on our driveline angle and our shifter location. I know the TKX, like many of the Tremecs, you can put the shifter location in multiple places, and I think this one you can even put it way back here, but generally this is the shift tower, and you can flip this plate that bolts on and move your shifter forward if you want. I'm hoping that this is close to the factory hole, because again, if it's sitting near the factory hole, that's less of the car we have to cut up. We can keep the shape of the floor as is. That would be super cool. So let's slide this all together, put a couple of tack welds on it to hold it in place, and maybe put it on the bell housing. And I'll have to take the engine off the stand, get the bell housing on, which means getting the cherry picker out. We'll see if we have time for all that. I would love to set this in place. Put the heads on, put the valve covers on, those tall Ford valve covers, put the intake on with dual quads, and see if it's gonna poke up above the fenders. All right, now, I did not label these or make identifying notches in them or anything, so we're just gonna have to go by the shape. I think they're unique enough. And hopefully all we need is a dead blow hammer. We'll weld it after this. Let's see if I can carry it from here to the welding table. All right, so we have a plate that goes up against the bell housing. Now I think, put this here. Yeah, it fits. Okay, now, put this bottom one on first. How does it work? Oh. Now someone's going to ask why I didn't just go out and buy a mock-up transmission for the TKX. There is one available on the market right now. Well, it's kind of expensive at about 300 bucks. And honestly, I hadn't looked for one in probably a year or more. Last time I looked, there was not one available. So I figured, well, maybe I can get a hold of a scan, make the parts myself, and we'll just put one together in my own shop. So that's what I did. It took a while to find a scan, and it took a little bit of time to draw up the parts, and then I let it sit for a while, and then I came back and finished up drawing the parts, had them cut out, and here we are. So yeah, I just looked a little bit ago while I was editing this video, and I do see one available. $275 online, sheet metal, not painted. And I mean, really, that cost seems a little high to me. I don't quite understand that. Now, if someone was asking for a specific transmission and you needed to get a hold of that transmission, scan it, put it into CAD, draw up the parts, have the parts made, deliver it to that person, yeah, $200, $300, $400, maybe even $500, depending on how hard it is to get a hold of that transmission. Yeah, that doesn't seem too far off, but you know, something about a simple sheet metal kit available online for $275. That just seems a little high to me. Let me know what you think. Time. How long did that take? Someone tell me. Dang, guys, look at that. Let me get one of these cameras in here close. Where's my... Come here, GoPro, with your dying battery. Oh, look at that. That sure looks like the outside shape of a transmission. That's pretty slick. That is pretty slick. Let's maybe set this down. It's probably all gonna fall apart if I know that's gonna fall out. Careful. No, there goes those. Okay. All right. Can we put this back just for the picture? It's not gonna stay. That's okay. There goes my tripod. Cool. All right. Look at that. Look at that. How cool is that? That's such a simple thing. I know it took hours to mess around with it and play with the 3D scan and draw all the parts and get them to nest properly, get them to lay properly together. But it's done. Look at that. It's there. It's a thing. I can bolt it right up to the bell housing. I think I can bolt it up to the bell housing. All right, now that is an extremely dirty aluminum bell housing, which I didn't know that Ford made. I thought they were all cast iron, but there's an aluminum one. And needs to be cleaned up real bad. I see this ear is broken. We're probably gonna lop this off because I'm 90% sure it's getting a hydraulic throwout bearing. So yeah, there it is. Now, next step, we need to get that on here. Yeah, I think that's gonna have to wait a little bit. Unfortunately, to see the next part of this, you're gonna have to subscribe because it probably won't be the next video. Maybe it will be, but it probably won't be because I'll probably be doing something else. I am all over the place on this car. Just like I'm all over the place with all of my projects. I work a little bit here, a little bit there. I need to come back and finish up these doubler plates, and I'm like, man, I should sand all this and paint it all black, and no, I should buy brakes. I have enough money saved up that I could buy brakes for the front and rear and then put them on, but I haven't done the rear axle yet. That's still sitting in the other room waiting to be cut up and welded so it's 3 inches narrower. And then I saw there's a sale on tubing benders. I need a tubing bender for this project and for the 4Runner, and maybe I could bend tubes for other people and make a little bit of money on the side. So that's something that might happen. Yeah, gotta pick my path here, I suppose. Oh, and this spoiler that I made out of cardboard and whatever that particle board stuff is, melamine board. Hey, we can make some progress from that because with that, we can make progress with that. Because I have this piece of 1/4 inch plastic that's laminated with aluminum on both sides. It's a scrap piece that's got damage on one end somewhere, yeah. But I only need a little strip out of it for this, and I think it'll work. It's thick enough you can put, you can countersink it and put screws in from the top if you want. We could rivet it on with lots of possibilities. Just have to make a little different bracket design than I anticipated. That's fine. So the question is always, what do we work on next? I don't know. I won't know until I decide to film the next video. So subscribe, hang around, check it out. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole idea. Maybe we could do some more.